McDonald's sucks. Malf, we don't need to get into this. Can we just... why are we so hell-bent on dividing each other when instead we could be uniting each other? Like, can we at least all agree that McDonald's breakfast is good? No? Really? No? We can't even agree on McDonald's breakfast? You can't find something on the McDonald's breakfast menu? Too greasy for breakfast? I'm not suggesting I'm in the right for this one, just to be clear. But I do want to say, holy cow, you blew away my strategy here. I don't think in my life I've ever eaten a food and been like, it's too greasy. And I know that sounds weird, but like it's just a criticism that I have never offered about a food. I'm sure I've eaten foods that felt too greasy, but for some reason it's not like I'm like, oh, I love greasy food. It's more like, I think in my head, I'm like, what is grease? Isn't that the stuff that makes the food taste good? Haven't you had a really greasy pizza slice before? I'm not, and you have to say this, because otherwise people won't believe you. I'm not just saying this to troll, but you know how like a slice of cheese pizza from Costco has 700 calories and like the oil pools in the little pepperoni cups? I thought that was like a positive thing. I thought that's kind of like one of the reasons you're there. So to call it too greasy seems a little crazy to me, because I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing here if not enjoying the grease? I mean, if I ate a salad and there was like so much salad that I had to wipe my mouth with a napkin every time I took a bite, I think I would be like, this salad is a little oily for me. But if I was eating like a sausage patty sandwich on an English muffin, I would be like, ooh, it's so good and greasy. Canadian cuisine enjoyer. I like some Canadian foods. Oka cheese, that's one. What's the best Canadian food? What's the worst Canadian food? Right back to back. I love to see it. I love to see it. Well, let's talk about poutine briefly, okay? Poutine is delicious. Is it the best Canadian food? I'd have to think about it. It's genuinely a food that I eat only on a fairly rare occasion. It's good. It's a really good food, and I don't think anybody would deny it. Is it the best? Butter tarts? Mouth, no disrespect, you're old. I mean, if you said Nanaimo bars, I would be like, okay, at least he's kind of cooking a little bit with Nanaimo bars, but butter tarts, that's like the domain of people born in the 1930s. A butter tart, for those of you unaware, a butter tart, I don't even know, no one ever told me what a butter tart is like filled with. It's like a very, imagine a very small open-faced pie, aka a tart. So it's like basically a pie crust filled with brown butter and sugar and maybe some raisins occasionally, maybe some pecans. It's good. I don't have anything against a butter tart. Best Canadian food though? Is it even Canadian? I feel like it's inherited from Great Britain. It's crazy pop culture killed the cream pie. I never really thought about it like that, but that's a funny way to think about it. There's some truth to that for sure. You will definitely not catch me ordering a cream pie at a restaurant. That's just not going to happen. Unless your mom owns a restaurant now. In which case, unless Corey's mom owns a restaurant. Because she loves to bake! Because she loves to bake! We talked about it yesterday. I don't know, best Canadian food? I'm genuinely not trying to get into the oldest debate on the internet when I say this. I might be inclined to say Hawaiian pizza. Hawaiian pizza is like, it's a go-to in our household. And I'm just one man. I'm long past the belief that like my opinions should represent everybody's opinions online. That would be bad for me. I'm definitely more comfortable being outside of the majority in a lot of situations, maybe even outside of a plurality. But I really enjoy a pineapple pizza. I'm not dead! Hawaiian pizza needs bacon on it. Listen, I know the fact that I spotlighted that comment probably sent chills down your spine, but I actually think you got a point. I think that bacon, and someone in chat said it, bacon and jalapeno do take a pineapple pizza to the next level. We need a melon. Oh, 2 melons! I think poutine is overrated. Your thoughts? You're gonna get me canceled with my Canadian audience, which is a large part of my audience. I don't think poutine is overrated, so I'll start right there. I'll live with 9. What I will say is I would eat more poutine if there was a smaller size of poutine offered. When you get poutine, if you get it as like an entree, it's always so huge. And I'm like, when I want poutine, and this is just me, okay? I'm not saying that we need to run La Belle Provence out of business. I basically am like, it's a weakness in my brain. My brain is going like the only thing that will satisfy me right now is some kind of Frankenfood concoction that is out of control. I need 400 French fries doused with like the coagulated fat of the largest grazing land mammal in North America, and then like a cheese byproduct on top. It's just like, it's an ode to man's hubris. What I would love to do is just be, I almost feel like a poutine, like I'm trying to think of the right way to describe it. Like if you could get your French fries, like half fries, half poutine, this is not a good solution. Maybe that's why they haven't done it yet. Maybe there is no right way. No, you're right. I need a poutinette. I don't need a poutine. I want a poutinette. Because I won't allow myself most of the time to eat a quote-unquote like full poutine, mostly just because of the fact that by the time I finish a third of it, I'm like, I don't even want this anymore. Like the first bite is the most beautiful thing I've ever put in my mouth, but then like by bite number 20, I'm like, I don't need this much. They should sell like a 5-bite poutine. I'd be more down with it. Maybe because it's too greasy. Don't start with me, okay? Don't start. You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. Put it in the fridge. Don't you love leftovers? I want to start this bit by saying, I want to preface this and say that I love my wife, okay? I do also want to, I'm not removing myself, all the responsibility from myself. But I will say, I think I would be 5 pounds lighter if my wife ate faster. Because here's what happens. We'll eat at the restaurant, and I'll eat 65% of my food. And then my stomach will send a signal to my brain that's like, I'm full, but she's only 25% of the way through the meal. So I'm just sitting there, and I can't pull out my phone because it's disrespectful. We're having a conversation, but at the same time, like, she's eating, so I can't be asking her questions nonstop, like a Dane Giesling stream or something like that, right? So I'm waiting there for like 12 minutes with a plate of delicious food in front of me, and I'm supposed to never, like, I'm supposed to fight temptation 20 times a minute. I'm supposed to, because my brain's like, you could have another bite, 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 and I gotta say no 100% of the time. Because what happens is if you say yes once, you take 1 bite, and then it's like the family-sized potato chip thing, where it's like, oh, I ate half the bag, I'll put it back in the pantry. Then the next time you go up to the pantry, you're like, I'll just take a handful. Then you do that like 4 times, and then you're like, oh, there's only a third of the bag left. I might as well just eat the whole thing. I'm not putting a third of the bag left in the pantry. So I do feel like it's not a big deal. But I do feel like I eat more than I would otherwise eat at a restaurant because of the fact that I eat faster than my wife, which is fine. Now, I have, at the end of the day, I have control over that. That's my cross to bear. I could eat less at the restaurant. I could ask them for a takeout container immediately. There's any number of solutions to this problem. I'm just saying life is about... There's choices you make in life, and some of those choices are influenced. Like, you might think that you would simply not eat the food, But you don't know that until you're in my position. You don't know what the food is. You don't know what you ate for lunch that day and now you're out for dinner. You don't know, oh, you just received an anxiety-inducing text right before dinner and all of a sudden you're like, I deserve this. You don't know what you don't know how you did on the Peloton this morning. You know, your choices are a composite. It's not like a binary yes-no thing in your head. It's a composite of what's going on in your life, okay? It's very easy to be like, just don't eat the food, because you don't have the food in front of you. Once you got the food in front of you, it's a lot harder to fight the temptation of like, I could just take one more bite. Then you one more bite yourself into like, oh, it's not even worth taking the leftovers home. NL has solved psychology. What would you say to an unemployed person? You're looking at it. Should be the title of the stream. Nothing encourages overeating like a food that'll fall apart if you put it down. That is damn true. That's another thing I haven't thought about in a while, but that is damn true. My ass is not putting down a burrito, because you're cooked. As soon as you put it down, you're cooked. That being said, I would probably never leave a burrito for leftovers to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. Turn it into a bowl the next day? Why don't you start your own website? Sorry. What do you mean by that? I'm just sick of you trying to solve my problems. Just laugh, okay? Big problems, I would like your help with solving them. That's why I don't bring them up on stream. Small problems, like my wife eats so slowly it tests my self-control in a restaurant, these are the little sandpaper patches of life that make it interesting, okay? You're gonna turn yourself into a fucking robot, man. What I do when I'm eating normally, I eat at whatever speed I want. But when I go out with my wife, I have a reminder set on my phone. So as soon as the food comes, my phone goes off and says, remember to eat at the same pace that she eats so you're not tempted to overeat your meal. Like, if it brings you joy to do that, okay. But I'm not, I'm not gonna do that, okay? I'm gonna lean into the wind. And if the wave knocks me off my board, I'm gonna get back up. Please change your background. Listen, that is a ridiculous ask, but I'm definitely going to do it because I think this background is just not it. Not the one in my house. I'm talking about the one in the game. Like this Dam Busters background.